Welcome to the Ultimate Coach Podcast, Conversations from Being, inspired by the book, The Ultimate Coach, written by Amy Hardison and Alan Thompson. Join us each week with the intention of expanding your state of being, and your experience will be remarkable. Remember, this is a podcast about being. It is a podcast about you. To explore more deeply, visit theultimatecoachbook.com. Now, enjoy today's conversation from Being.
Hello, Alex.
Hello. How are you, Cordelia?
I'm absolutely amazing. I'm so
look
happy.
Amazing.
Thank you. So do you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you were the hot guy sitting next to me at the Ultimate Experience. Do you remember that?
I do remember. No, that wasn't even a year ago. Of course I remember that.
Yeah.
That's how we met.
Yeah, that's how we met. So what's new with you since then? Like, who are you now a year later after the Ultimate Experience?
Very good question. I don't know truly who I am. I'm figuring it out. I thought I had it all figured out. And then post-pandemic, everything just kind of changed for me. To a point where it almost feels uncomfortable because you get so comfortable knowing who you are. You're on this track and you're on this path. And then everything just gets flipped upside down. And in 2022, I guess, just a very challenging year for me. I just didn't feel fulfilled in anything I was doing. I was managing two different artists, and I love music, and I love both of those artists so much, and they're both successful. There was just something missing. And I felt myself kind of just getting in funks and just not feeling, like just being lost and being confused. And in August, I think it was late August or early September, I made this radical, sounds radical in this day and age, I made a radical decision. I decided I was going to be a 45-year-old intern.
Oh.
And I did that because one of my best friends owns a record label called Neon 16. It's not just a record label, it's we have a TV show that just came out on Disney Plus in November, one coming out on Netflix in March. But aside from that, he's just the most inspirational person I know. He's only 36 years old, and he's just a visionary. He's just got such a huge heart. He really cares about people. And he's somebody that I just admire greatly. From the day I met him, I knew he was a genius. And there was no position for me at his company, but I knew I wanted to be a part of this company. And even though he's my boy, he's not going to just hire me and just give me money for no reason, even though he's super wealthy and, he's got 3 cars and a driver and he's got the whole 9,
Yeah.
But I took a bet on myself. I gambled. I was like, I'm going to go intern. I called him up. I was like, hey, I'm calling to give you a courtesy call. And he's like, courtesy call? What are you talking about? Because I just came out of left field with it. I didn't prepare him for it. I was like, I'm calling to give you a courtesy call. He's like, courtesy call? What are you talking about? I'm like, I'm about to call every major record label in Miami. All the major record labels are in Miami on the Latin side. They're based here. And I know everybody at those labels. So I was like, I'm going to call all the record labels and I'm going to intern somewhere. But where I really want to work is at Neon 16. And he's like, is that what you really want to do? It's like, all right, come tomorrow, fill out the paperwork, and let's get started.
Wow.
So I'm all excited. I'm hyped up. I have this plan. Like, it sounds great, right? And then the day that I have to go to my first day, I'm getting dressed. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I'm about to go intern with 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds who are in college, who don't have any experience. Here I am, who has, achieved certain levels of success, has this persona, has this status in the community, within my industry and all that. Like, you can't do this. Like, your ego starts kind of getting in the way, like,
Yeah.
So I had that moment for a second, like, what am I doing? I'm getting dressed and I'm getting ready to go intern. Like, I got white hair, bro. But I got dressed and I showed up and I'm getting introduced to the other interns and 21, 22 years old and wide-eyed and bushy-tailed and don't really know that much about the industry,
Life.
And life and all that. And that uneasy feeling went away really quick. And I knew that I was in the right place. I knew I was going to have an amazing story to tell once this is all said and done. I knew that I was going to make myself so valuable or show my worth and value that they had no choice but to figure it out. We were going to figure it out in 3 months, where I fit in, how I fit in, and what I would be doing. And 3 months later, I had a job. I mean, it only took maybe 3 weeks before he knew. He was like, I was like, I'm never leaving this place, right? He's like, yeah, I know. He's like, we have to hire you. And I had an opportunity within the first 3 weeks I had to run point on a major event, a celebrity event for 600 people. And I pretty much ran the whole thing. So they and I don't get stressed under pressure. I'm not one of those people that when you're in high pressure situations, all of a sudden an attitude comes out and this and that. I'm like, so not that at all. So in these high pressure environments, I'm just calm and cool as a fan and just attack task by task, boom, 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 boom. And they were like, yeah, okay. And it paid off. So now here I am working in a talent incubator, if you will, because there's so many avenues within the entertainment industry that is going on. We just won 7 Latin Grammys as a record label.
Congratulations.
So thank you. So, it's a highly successful company working at the highest levels, and I'm right where I want to be. And I'm surrounded by people who inspire you every day to be greater. It's also a place where no dream is too big. No matter how big it is, that we have the resources and the relationships to do it. So it just allows you to be completely free in your dreaming. Anything you can possibly think of, you're like, if it's a good idea, we're going to put the muscle behind it. One of the days that I was there at work, I had nothing to do. So
Hold on. Before you tell this story, I want to say this. I want to acknowledge you for allowing yourself to abandon your ego, right? And surrender to possibility. That's what I heard. And I just love what it's created for you. So
thank you. The whole time I was going through this process, I'm like, this is so much bigger than me because I'm going to have a story to tell. I think there's a lot of people in their 40s who go through periods of like uncertainty with whether it's their career. And I wouldn't call this a midlife crisis because I think a midlife crisis comes from people not doing what they've always wanted to do. And then they get to a point where they're like, oh my God, I'm halfway done with my life and I'm not doing anything that I've ever wanted to do. I've done everything I've wanted to do. I just was unfulfilled where I was and I knew I wanted to do something different. But I think that my story, and it's still, I still have a way to go. The story is still in process. Like, where is this going to lead? And I know it's going to lead to great things. And I think that it'll be able to help a lot of people not be afraid to take that leap. I mean, people are willing to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to a 4-year college with no guarantees.
Yeah.
And I took a 3-month, internship. I invested 3 months of my time. Mm-hmm. Didn't spend any money. I didn't get paid, but I didn't invest any of my money. I just worked my butt off for 3 months and I got exactly what I wanted out of it. And I think it is ego that gets in people's way from taking that step to do something like that. Because as humble as I am, relatively, I guess you could say, compared to the average person, it was even tough for me. I had my moments where I was like, yo, I'm I'm this person. I've done this and I've done this. I can't go backwards. And speaking about our good friend Karan, when I was speaking to him on the phone about it one day, he was like, it's like a slingshot. He's like, you got to pull the rock back first in order for it to launch forward at a high rate of speed. He's like, that's all you're doing. You're like a slingshot. You just took a small little backward step to then get launched. And I was like, man, that is such a brilliant way to look at it. And it's the truth. And then, so going back to the day where I was twiddling my thumbs at work and I had nothing to do, I was like, well, I can't sit here in a room full of creatives and waste like my time. I got to come up with something. Let me just invent something. So I just started thinking and I started writing a TV show. 30 minutes later, I have the show written. I have the treatment. I have all the characters. I have it was amazing. So I go to Lex Borrero, the CEO and the founder of Neon. And I'm like, hey, I just made this company millions of dollars. And he's like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm like, no, I just wrote a show in 30 minutes that's going to be the biggest show that ever comes out of Neon. He's like, show it to Santiago, one of the directors over and producers at Entertain, which is the sister company of Neon on the television and film side. See what he thinks about it. I show it to Santi. Santi thinks it's great. Go show it to Pablo, who hates everything. He's just a very analytical, critical guy who just looks through everything through a fine-tooth comb. He's like, yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. He reads it. He's like, yo. So then everybody read the show. Within 3 or 4 days, my show has become priority number one for the company in 2023. And that was all born of first me deciding to take that leap of faith and drop my ego. And I am now the host. Yes, so then I went to Pablo, who doesn't ever like anything. He has the most critical, you got to have that guy in the company, the one who's just really, no.
He's the skeptic, yeah.
Yeah, and then a couple of days, he ended up liking it. And then a couple of days later, me and Lex are driving around one night, and he's like, hey, this weekend, the heads of the company, they were going to Turks and Caicos for the weekend just to discuss 2023. And they were like, and we're going to be talking about your show, but he was like, yo, you killed it. Like you got every aspect of it. He's like, I don't know how you did it. He's like, but we're going to be discussing it and see where we go with it. So they get back from Turks and Caicos, and we were doing this huge, the premiere party for Los Montaner, which is on Disney Plus. So this was November 9th, the day of the release. We had our big premiere party, red carpet, all that. And he's like, yeah, your show has become priority number one for 2023.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, this is incredible. So it just goes to show that, putting yourself around the right people, you're just going to bring out the best in you. So whatever it takes to put yourself in those environments, got to do it. You got to be willing to do it. You got to humble yourself, drop the ego. And I showed up to Neon acting and feeling like an intern. I was like, I'm an intern. If you need coffee, you guys, whatever you need. And they're like, bro, we're not doing that to you, man. Like, like they had a level of respect, but I was willing to do all those things. And there's different times where I was doing things that I haven't done in years. And when we were at an event and we're around celebrities and or executives from labels or from some of the streaming platforms like Apple Music or Amazon or Spotify, and they're used to seeing me somewhere else. And now they're seeing me do things and I was totally cool with it. And because I was totally cool with it, everybody else is totally cool with it. Nobody cares. You're over there, you're hustling, you're working, and people can respect and appreciate that. But yeah, I definitely think that, a lot of times it's very easy to get on our own way without it, And I feel blessed and fortunate enough that I didn't have that hurdle. That as soon as it came into my mind that this was a possibility that maybe I should do this, that I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. And that I didn't play with the idea and think like, no, I can't do this because of this and this. I just dove in head first. And now I'm officially a part of the team, which is amazing.
So who would you say you chose to be, or you're choosing to be, as you move forward with this company?
who am I choosing to be? You know, I don't even have a title at the company yet, right? I'm more on the events and marketing side, but I'm involved in a little bit of everything. That's a gift and a curse. Part of the reason, because I feel like a lot of times I don't laser focus on one skill set. I always spread myself around, but I like that. I get bored. I get, doing the same thing. It just kind of becomes routine when you're doing the same thing over and over. And I think that's part of the reason I love, aside from the fact that I love Lex in a way that is just like as a friend and as somebody I look up to in business and I'm creative and all that, they're so all over the place. They do everything. So it's easy for me to feel right at home over there. However, within the company, everybody has their specific titles and their specific jobs, and this person's an A&R, and this person's in management, and this person, an artist management, and this person is the head of creative. And I just see myself kind of bouncing around in all of those areas, probably because my mind works that way, but then also because in my career, the way I network, I have relationships everywhere. So I'll be walking by one in one of the rooms and somebody's talking about they need something over here. And I'm like, oh, I know so-and-so, and I know this person, and I can make this happen. Okay, let me make some phone calls. So now I'm over here. And then somebody else is doing something in the marketing side so.
So it sounds like you're being in your creative fluidity.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think that's where I'm at right now. And, but my ultimate goal is still to move to some other country one day and just live on a beach and drink from coconuts and, go to yoga every day and just be with nature. But, I'm enjoying the ride and I'm definitely learning and growing. And you learn a lot. You learn a lot about yourself by putting yourself in, humbling yourself and dropping the ego and going in. Like, I wasn't expecting to learn as much about myself as I did. And it just feels good. It feels rewarding to be that humble. And especially when people, not that we do it for recognition, but everybody recognizes, everybody sees it right away. So if anybody had a doubt about you, that doubt goes away really, really quickly when they're like, yo, this person's in here. I've known this person for this long. Because, I knew everybody at Neon. They were already like a family. But there's certain people in the company that I wasn't that close with for whatever reason, And those are people I never thought I'd ever get close with. We have very different personalities. They're very quiet or they're whatever. And then I've gotten to know those people and how great they are. And they've gotten to know me in ways that they weren't expecting to get to know me, which also goes to show us that, our preconceived notions about people are usually going to be wrong.
Yeah. When you're in judgment, that's what happens. But when you release it,
to know somebody.
Yeah.
So you're going to be better for it.
Gift.
You're going to learn something from them.
Yeah, that's such a gift. Alex, thank you for sharing that with us. I want to also talk about your passion project, Spread Love Only.
Spread Love Only Love, yes.
Yeah. So are you still exploring that project or?
Honestly, I haven't been exploring it ever since, that Neon took me on a different turn. It's something that's always on my mind and something I always think about. And I'm definitely in the right place for it. Neon Entertainment was going to produce my podcast. And they're still interested in doing it. All I got to do is say I'm ready to do this. I think when the time is right, it'll happen. And obviously, it just takes me saying, it's going to happen. Let's go. And I just start the trigger. But I think I'm just still in a moment where I'm just relearning things about myself and about what I want to do and where I want to be, that isn't a priority for me right now. But something will happen there eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's then go back to the depths of you that you're finding, you're discovering now. What's one thing that you've learned about yourself that you're so lit up about?
One thing I've learned about myself that I'm lit up. I think it's actually what I've learned about myself that I'm opposite. I'm not lit up about.
Okay, or that.
So I don't know if this is a common thing, but I feel like the older we get, or the older I get at least, because I only know my experience, right? So the older I get, the more I can pinpoint things about myself that I need to work on. So it's like when I was younger, I was like, there's 3 things I need to work on naively, right? Yeah, I only have 3 things. I'm amazing.
That's it. Yeah.
Now I can see so many things I need to work on. I'm like, gosh, I feel like crap all the time. I got to work on this, and this, and this, and this, and this. It's like, this is supposed to be getting better. I'm not supposed to I don't know if that's a universal thing that other people feel that way sometimes, but it's like I know too much
about yourself.
About myself. Like I've become way too introspective. I think I have so many things to correct. Where before I thought I only had a few, like.
Well,
Bummer. It's like I have a lot to do. I have a long way to go.
It sounds like you're a little bit in judgment about yourself. Let's open that up a little bit, Alex. When's the last time you read the Ultimate Coach book?
January 2022.
Okay. Well, maybe we just need to flip through. Maybe we flip to the section on love and see if we can get Alex to love himself a little bit more here. So, okay. So let's see. Yeah, I'm going to read this, right? Love beyond the center. Now I want you to hear this as if you are talking to you. Okay. Amy is the center of Steve's universe, but surrounding that center are concentric circles of love that include Steve's clients, friends, and people he has just met. Love is, I am that, is part of Steve's document. He says it, he lives it, it shows up where he goes. So this would be Alex is the center of Alex's universe, but surrounding that center are concentric circles of love that include Alex's clients, friends, and people that he's just met. Love is, and Alex is that. Does that resonate?
Yeah, I don't, and thank you for sharing that. It's not, I love myself, right? I love the person that I am, but I am finding it at this point in my life, I am having to work even harder at it than I did even 2 or 3 years ago. And and I don't know where that's coming from. And that's why I'm thinking, is it because I'm able to identify more things like I mentioned? So, I'm able to remind myself really quickly, I go back, and I know who I am and I know how people see me and but I typically find myself more than I did in the past, focusing on the things that I want to improve as opposed to the things that I love about myself,
Mm-hmm.
And the things I love about myself definitely outweigh the things that I need to improve. But it's just funny the way our brain works sometimes, so yeah, it's something that I have. And even the fact that I'm even conscious about this is crazy. I
love that you're conscious about it.
Some people don't I used to not even recognize things like this, I would just, I don't know. It's like ignorance is bliss. It's like,
or not.
yeah. I was on a gratitude walk. I think it was Monday. Well, this girl that lives in my building and her dog, Bambalina, name of the dog.
Oh.
And she's like, I have a feeling that dumb people are happier than smart people. And I was like, I could see that. Like, because you're not paying attention to so many things. And sometimes when you pay attention to a lot of the details, it can be a distraction, So, I don't know.
Another way to look at it, though, is like when you're just in the moment, right? You can be very non-judgmental, because just like, where you were saying when you notice something and you're just like, oh, course correct. I love that about me. Course correct. You know what I mean? I feel really that you're less in judgment of yourself than you think you are. So even though you answered my question by saying I'm finding a lot of stuff that I'm not lit up about, I feel like the fact that you are course correcting in the moment, I feel like that does light you up. But that's just my experience of listening to you.
Well, listen, I don't want to, at the end of the day, I'm a happy person, right? And I love the direction I'm going and where I'm at. And like I said, this is sounding like a Neon 16 commercial, because I'm talking so highly about, but like, I'm in a really beautiful place around really beautiful people who really care, and who are chasing the biggest of dreams. And I'm working for a leader who his whole purpose is to create more leaders, and to see people spread their wings and do their own thing outside of Neon, if that's what their path and their journey takes them. So, I couldn't be happier about that, and I've manifested the whole thing. I could see the beginning from the very beginning. I remember the first time it ever crossed my mind about Neon 16 wanting to work there was as soon as he opened the company. I was like, man, I kind of think this would be a cool place to work. Like, I would want to be a part of this team. Like, there was a little bit of feeling left out, because I've been a part of their team unofficial. I'm such good friends with Lex, and I helped them with events. So I was always working with them, but from the outside. I was never, so I knew exactly what they were all about. So I manifested the whole situation. So that's a major win. It's something to celebrate and to be happy about. And so I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer about
you. Not at all. You don't sound like that, and you also don't sound like a Neon 16 advertisement. You sound like an Alex Goudie, on Inner Inquiry. Goudie. Did I mispronounce your name? Oh my gosh. What is it?
Everybody mispronounces it.
Okay.
Goudie.
Okay. Goudie. Alex Goudie, Inner Inquiry, journey. That's what it's sounding like to me. And it's a beautiful one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I don't have a lot of, just looking at my schedule for 2023 in January, the meetings that we have set up and all that, is just like, it's mind blowing. It's like, it's great. From the Major League Baseball to just great stuff coming up, So it's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
And I'm today's our first day off, because the music industry kind of shuts down for a few weeks. So I'm off from today until January 9th, which actually happens to be my birthday. So
that's right.
So it's cool. I'm kind of that's why I was available here at this time today. That's why I told you this would be the best day, so that I wouldn't have to miss any time at the office, which is also another great thing. Like, we can work from wherever we want, really. But I find by going into the office, it just forces you to be more creative and productive. At least for me. When I'm at home, I'm going to go sit on my couch. I'm going to open the fridge. I start thinking about chores I got to get done around the house.
Yeah.
Maybe I should go do this. Maybe I should go wash my sheets. Maybe I should do that.
But also it sounds like when you're in the office, like there's so much creative flow happening. Like, do you think you would have been able to write that screenplay in 30 minutes, like at home?
I doubt it. No, I don't think so. It's kind of like, it's like playing on a football team. When you play professional or you play on a football team, everybody's working hard around you. If I don't work hard, I'm going to get left behind. I have to train. So when you see everybody around you is developing ideas, it's creating business where no business exists. Everything's It's a creative place. It's not like, you're selling shutters or it's literally creating something out of nothing, out of thin air. So, you have to be, it forces you to keep moving when everybody else is doing it around you. So it'll bring out things out of you that maybe you didn't know were there, or you've been too lazy to put your attention on. And that's why, show me who your friends are and I'm going to show you who you are. It's such a true statement. My greatest talent, I think, out of, has always been, I've had the ability for my whole professional career to surround myself with people who are greater than I. And I take a little piece of all of them with me. So how can you not be great if you're not always surrounded, if you're always surrounded by greatness, how can you not be great? It's impossible.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that's been, a key to my successes in life. I'm always surrounded by just great people. Great people.
And the fact that you actively seek that, and like you seek it in two ways, I'm seeing. You identify, who are those people that you want to be with, right? And then once you're with them, you acknowledge their greatness, right? And that, I think that continues to inspire you. That's
Absolutely.
a gift, Alex.
Absolutely, it is. It's a huge blessing. But let me toot my own little horn for a second too, right? Because I think what's important for us to realize our value and our worth, you attract that which you are. So I am great on my own, right? But I'm able to attract, and because of that, I'm able to attract other people because they see something great in me that they want a piece of. And I give them those things, and vice versa. It's a give and take. Nobody wants, to be the one that's always being taken from all the time, So I also acknowledge that I belong where I'm at, belong in those rooms and in those conversations, and I am one of them.
You're a magnetic field, I would say. It's like you're a magnet for greatness because you're great. That's what I heard you say. And I agree.
and look, I'm getting here to sit here with you because you are great. I've attracted you into my life.
Yes.
So
yes, we are great.
Amen.
Is there
in my eye? I'm sorry.
That's okay. Is there anything else that you would like to put in the space? I feel like this has been such a beautiful discovery and conversation about magnetism, co-creation, gratitude, and love.
We didn't discuss gratitude that much. That is the single greatest power you can have in this world. I don't think there's a human alive that's not grateful for something, right? But the more we're conscious and aware of the things we are grateful for, the more things we will attract into our life that we are going to be grateful. So yeah, being grateful. So I go on my gratitude walks, which I do often, and I'm always posting them on my Instagram stories. And I do that for, I do the gratitude walks for me, of course. And then I post them. I make sure I post them and I label them gratitude walks because I know that they inspire others. And just that one little tweak of actually labeling it puts an intention behind it. And it makes such a big difference on how I feel about it when I'm doing them and how other people perceive them when they see them, and then how it affects their life and then the ripple effect that can have on others. So being grateful is the single most greatest, most beautiful thing any human being can learn how to do. I think everything else will expand from that and will grow out of that, out of being grateful. So
I agree, and that, to your point about labeling your gratitude walks, there was a time during the year that I was like heavy, just waiting to watch your feed for the gratitude walks. You know what I mean? It's like I needed the energy and the intention of gratitude to receive it for myself,
That's so awesome.
Yeah. So just think about that. Like, our words create our world. Your words create your world. And then with your intention, right?
Nice.
Yeah. And you didn't even know. And I mean, you don't even know how many people you are touching with those gratitude walks. I'm telling you, right? I think I've told you a couple of times this year, but, just think, I'm representative of all the people that are following you, that are being inspired by your energy of gratitude.
And how it affects you, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, is going to influence the way you react with the world around you. So then you're going to touch other people with that. So that's why our words matter so much. And the energy we put out into the world matters so much. On my gratitude walk today, I saw an old couple walking past me, and I smiled at the lady, and she smiled back. And it was such a beautiful smile. And it made me give a high five to a tree as I was walking by, because I just felt so happy, right? And I was just, in that moment, I was just like, man, that's why it's so important to smile. Like, she literally lit me up for a while. Mm-hmm. I just felt different, that it made me give a high five to a plant.
Yes. And you don't even know how powerful that is, because, trees, they have their own little network happening.
Oh yeah, we can get into that. I'm all about that.
Me too. Have you read the book?
When I'm riding my bike, I'm high-fiving trees and bushes the whole way. Anytime I can touch a plant, if I see one, I'm like giving them love, because they give it right back.
Yeah. You're like a gratitude vortex.
I am.
You are. And I mean, I really appreciate being with you and your energy. You're such an inspiration. Oh. And, keep being who you're being. Yeah.
And thank you so much for inviting me to be on your show. I love everything about you and what you represent and how many people you're touching through your words. And so keep doing all of those amazing things and exploring new sides of yourself and all that. I think that's so amazing and inspiring as well.
Thank you for listening. If you know someone who would benefit from today's conversation, please share this podcast with them. Also, we invite you to visit theultimatecoachbook.com so you can continue your personal exploration of being. There you will find links to join our wonderful community, get your own copy of the Ultimate Coach book, and more. Simply go now to www.theultimatecoachbook.com. That's www.theultimatecoachbook.com. The link is also available in the show notes. We appreciate your support. Be blessed. Be you.